Welcome to Dr Joe Unplugged. This podcast contains general information and is not in any way medical advice. You're never going to get the right answer if you don't ask the right question. Sounds fairly obvious, but it's an area in a lot of aspects of health where, if we don't get the right answer because we're not asking the right question. Now, I'm going to read out a headline. This is from 9 websites. Are artificial sweeteners helpful or harmful? Even experts are torn. It's actually the wrong question. And surprise, surprise, authors of a new paper announced findings that artificial sweeteners can improve weight loss maintenance. Another review suggested the same products are associated with weight gain. And association or linkage means there is no cause and or effect. If you consume less calories and particularly less carbohydrates that tend to get stored as fat, it's likely that if you have an energy deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you have an energy excess, you're likely to put on weight. And there are a lot of factors involved with that, including your metabolism, how much you exercise, and. It's why people can eat broadly the same and not end up in the same situation. But the question is, the question being asked, are sweeteners helpful or harmful, is the wrong question. They're neither. They are neither. Artificial sweeteners only exist for one reason. They were devised by the food industry to be able to sell products that had a lower sugar content and therefore less calories. And the reason for that is that over the years, they'd been marketing a lot of foods that were fairly high in sugar. And a lot of people, and look, I'll include myself in this, have a sweet tooth. I think most people like sweet foods. Not everybody. Some people prefer savoury. But a lot of people like sweets. That's fine. A sweet treat is okay. If it's your birthday, you can have a piece of cake. If it's a Sunday and you go out, you can certainly have a sweet treat. You can go get an ice cream cone, for example. It's always about the balance. But by themselves, artificial sweeteners are neither helpful or harmful by themselves. If we think that by having a diet drink, particularly soft drinks, that somehow carte blanche, so we can have a couple of donuts and maybe an ice cream cone with it and all will be well. Surprise, surprise, it's not going to happen. Likewise, if we put a teaspoon of sugar into our tea or coffee, it's not of itself a problem. So no, artificial sweeteners have no value to the human body. So they're not good or bad in terms of their impact on health. As a substitute for sugar, they provide sweetness. Is that of itself helpful or harmful? Well, it's not particularly helpful or harmful for our health. It gives us the flavour. We get the sweet flavour without the calories. But there's never such a thing as a free lunch. And we do know that when we get a sweet taste in the mouth, the body will send a message down to the pancreas to start releasing some insulin. And the reason for that is the anticipation that we've got something sweet coming in. Sweetness the body associates with glucose, and glucose needs to be removed from the bloodstream. And it does that by storing it as fat. Now, the catch, if you like, becomes when no sugar arrives, and then we often end up feeling hungry. And if we're feeling hungry, we're going to eat more. And that's why some reviews are going to find that people, if they're consuming significant enough amounts, and again, one of the other issues with these types of studies is how much of the artificial sweetener do people have and what else are they eating and. So therefore, yes, it may be associated with weight gain. If people are quite strict overall with their food intake, and yes, they've maybe had a diet drink instead of water, and no, they don't eat something afterwards, then they may well lose weight. But in neither instance is it going to be not directly, caused by the use of the sweetener. So what really is the message in all of this? As we said at the outset, you need to ask the right question. The human body has no need for artificial sweeteners, and my suggestion would be minimise their intake, not because they're harmful, but because there's no use for them. And it is much, much better to drink water than to drink any sort of artificially flavoured beverage. The body is 70% water. It's not 70% soft drink. It's not 70% beer. It's not 70% alcoholic beverage either. Statement of the obvious. So drink mainly water. If you then want to have some foods that have a sweet content, that's fine, providing you don't eat more of it than really what your body needs. And you're going to be able to figure that out relatively quickly when you either A, tread on the scales, or B, look in the mirror. So do we need artificial sweeteners? No. Are they helpful or harmful? Neither of the above. They are there to provide some sweetness if that is what we want, but ultimately we don't really need it because we can get some sweetness naturally, and it's better to have a little bit of sugar in your food, whether you make a cake at home or some biscuits or whatever it might be, and mainly drink water. Thanks for listening to Dr. Joe Unplugged. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share. You can also follow it on all the socials. There'll be new content uploaded each week.